I guess every year kids start feeling Christmas around end of November, Thanksgiving. For 4 or 5 weeks, they just build up, and finally they get that feeling of Christmas. There's a certain thing to say. I also do a college football podcast every summer about July or August. I start to get that itch, those goosebumps, getting ready for college football to start in the beginning of September. But for us, for wrestling fans, it really unofficially kicks off at that Royal Rumble when you start leading up to the big one, the big dance, the grandfather of them all, WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania season, but now, these days, especially this year, because they had 2 pay-per-views between the Rumble and Mania, which was weird. It was different, but now we've gotten through all of them. We're through another week, and we're 2 weeks out from Mania, and I have got the feeling. I've got that big fight feel in my body. This is why we do the podcast. This is why at 41 years old I still watch this goofy stuff. It is WrestleMania season, and folks, for the first time on the show, I decided, hey, Brandon, your voice is the voice of the gods. You know exactly what you're talking about. There's nobody in the world that can host a wrestling podcast as good as you. Maybe all that's bullshit. Today, we're going to have a co-host on the show. This is wrestling.
My boss hit my line with an angry text saying something about B90X. I said wrestling. I'm going to wrestling. Then my phone blew up with a couple alarms. I got bets to make. I got worms to farm. I said wrestling. I'm going to wrestling. I'm a wrestling son of a bitch from a worm farm down on the Mississippi. And if you got a problem with the way I live, you could catch a chest chop then a super kick. Yeah, RASSLIN, that's wrestling. RASSLIN, that's wrestling. RASSLIN, that's wrestling. RASSLIN, that's wrestling.
Welcome back into Wrestling, Barstool's professional wrestling podcast, hosted by me, Brandon Walker. Hi, how you doing? If you're watching on YouTube, which you're not because we don't put the whole thing on YouTube yet, you can see that I'm not alone. I have got a cohort, a co-host, a sidekick, a helper, a co-pilot. I don't know how many ways I can say that, but I'm saying it right now. I don't know how many, for you sharp-eyed people out there, you already knew this guy was at Barstool. This might be your introduction to some of you to his being at Barstool, but Dan Vollmeyer is sitting about 4 feet to my, no, socially distanced, definitely 6 feet to my right.
Should I slide?
No, you're sitting, it's a firm 6 feet. I can't even touch you, brother. That is Dan Vollmeyer right over there. Dan Vollmeyer spent more than a year, or right at a year, about a year, on the bump for WWE Network, and he now works as a producer at Barstool, but he's been inside the belly of the beast, per se, and now he is here. Dan, thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you so much for having me here, Brendan. I am so excited. I'm here to just ride sidecar to your muscle motorcycle.
Thank you.
And just basically follow your lead. It should be a lot of fun.
So this is, I started wrestling in December. I think we're about episode 18 or 19.
Okay.
And I've been noticing that, as much as I love to talk about it, my voice gives out, and I need a balance. I need a counterbalance. And you, when you came into the company a couple of weeks ago, I think you've been here about 3 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
But when you came to the company, I was like, wait a minute, I know that name. And I looked you up, and you've been on the bump on WWE. You had some on-camera experience, and I can't watch somebody with your credentials get hired and not just talk wrestling with you. I don't even care if these mics are on. I just want to talk professional wrestling with you.
That's what we get to do here, so I'm super excited.
All right, so on this show, we are, in fact, coming up headlong into WrestleMania. It is very, very soon. We're inside of 2 weeks. The card has taken shape. The main events have taken shape. The week is taking shape. We're now seeing a Hall of Fame class. We're seeing the NXT pay-per-view for that week. We're seeing exactly what the main events are going to look like. We now have a new entrant in the SmackDown side of things on the main event. So we've got all of that to talk about. We'll talk about this week in wrestling. We'll also get to our We Just Made the List, which we've got a couple of WrestleMania-themed ideas that we might do in just a second. We're, of course, going to talk about the good things happening, AEW, Dynamite, NXT. We have new Hall of Famers. We'll break down the Hall of Fame class. And, hey, there's a huge event in NXT this coming week. It is NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. It is April 7th and 8th, a 2-night event. One of the main eventers of that is on this show today. His name is Karrion Kross. We talked to him last week. We've got an interview with him, about 25 minutes talking with Karrion Kross about Finn Balor, about NXT, about his tiny shirts, and why he has so many muscles busting out all over his body.
And you talk about movies as well. I thought
we do. We talk about his favorite Sylvester Stallone movie from the early 90s, which I took great exception to. I still think Cliffhanger, man.
Cliffhanger was really good.
Cliffhanger was really good. He's walking around shirtless. He's in the snow. A woman dies in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what had me hooked.
Everything I love about movies.
That's a good start to a movie for me. When I see a death of a woman within the first 5 minutes, I'm sold. I'm sticking around for the whole show.
You know what that is?
It sounds like I'm a psychopath.
No, but you know what that is? What kind of plot device that is?
No, certainly not foreshadowing because something bad already happened. But
it's a cliffhanger.
Oh, my God. You see, I set that up for you, and I didn't even know I was doing.
The fun thing is, it's not even a cliffhanger.
I know.
But I just came up with that, and I'm very brilliant. We'll have our top 5. I don't know. You want to do top 5 Mania main events, top 5 worst Manias, top 5 venues? We might just do all fucking 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out when we get there. Voicemails are coming up. But first, this is your first time on the show, okay?
That is correct.
But I want you to be comfortable. I want you to know this is a place where wrestling fans can kick off their feet and be happy and just know that you're among friends.
Mm-hmm. Safe space.
There's no better way to set the mood than with some great wrestling theme songs. Okay. This week we have a 4-pack of themes. We just let them play, set the vibe, get the mood of the show going, and that's how we approach this. So we start the show off with themes. Jake, who is sitting in for Aria once again. Aria, I believe, will be back next week as long as everything goes well. Jake, if you can play theme number 1. It is, in fact, Rob Van Dam. That is a good theme.
What a great strut he has. Like, just the shoulders just bopped really well with this theme.
One of a kind. It's a good theme.
It's tough to hear the lyrics. It's kind of one of the songs where the lyrics kind of blend in, which I guess is a good thing. You don't want to get too distracted.
I don't know any of the lyrics.
I know it says, play in the game.
Yeah.
No, definitely not that.
That's Triple H's The Game.
One in the game. Da-da-da-da.
One of a kind?
Da-da-da-da.
One of a kind.
I meant to print out the lyrics ahead of time. I was going to go on Genius.com. Yeah. It's mostly hip-hop, but I think they would have had RVD on there.
Genius.com is hip-hop?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can get all the lyrics that you ever want. I'm sure. Surprised you've not been on it.
Well, Outkast, my favorite group, put all their lyrics inside the CD sleeve.
Oh,
that's how I used to learn them.
How did you get into Outkast?
I just a 41-year-old man from the South, brother.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I love Outkast.
AT-Aliens, man.
Mm-hmm. I love this theme. We'll talk about it later. This is one of our points of contention we'll have.
Yes.
I wasn't a big RVD guy.
But the theme works.
The theme's great. Yeah. First of all, I love pretty much every wrestling theme because it just, you hear it and it puts you back to the first time you heard it or the main event. It takes you back to, like, I think of this right now, and I'm watching him come down the ramp at, I think it was in the Manhattan Center. No, it was in the Hammerstein Ballroom at One Night Stand.
Oh, what a night
Cena. What a night that was. Ooh. But that's what I see.
One of my great regrets, never seen a show at Hammerstein Ballroom.
Yeah, that would have been one to see.
That would have been, yeah.
Especially as somebody that was an RVD guy. We will talk about the Hall of Fame class in just a minute. That includes RVD. And it includes this next guy. Let's hit the second theme. Were you a fan during his debut?
I'll tell you, I didn't think Kane was going to turn out to be as big of a star as he...
I don't think anybody did.
I mean, okay, he's Undertaker's brother.
Right.
How long... I mean, we've seen these things
That's
before.
A dead-end storyline.
I mean, Ken Shamrock, he had his sister. Where did that go?
Ryan
nowhere.
Shamrock. Yeah.
Ryan Shamrock. But boy, did it turn into something else.
Well, if you think about it, The Undertaker itself is not a character that should have lasted very long. It in itself is a goofy, stupid character that shouldn't have had a shelf life, but the guy that played it was determined, it was just going to happen. And then Kane come along, and it was perfect. And I just remember, I think in my mind, I got the lights are red right now. He's walking up to the Hell in the Cell. He rips it off of the hinges. That's got to be Kane. And that first night, they nailed everything about Kane from the start. They don't. I don't even think they nailed everything with The Undertaker from the start because they had him with, Brother Love. They didn't have it figured out. But they nailed Kane from the get-go.
The fire on the ring post was big. And I remember when it first started happening, I would look during the shows to see if they had that extra tape wrapped around to see if it was going to happen or not. And I always knew, all right, we're going to get some Kane tonight. So that would always get me excited. So many different iterations of the Kane character as well.
Yeah, the only thing is, when I think of Kane, I thought Kane had the best gear in the business back in the late 90s, with the mask and the black and the red. Once you got bald Kane and shirtless Kane, I didn't like it as much.
I was okay with bald Kane.
Were you?
And and bald eyebrows, too. I mean, I don't know how it helped his love life, outside of the ring, but I thought it was a good look.
I like to think Kane doesn't have a penis. I like to think he got burned off in the fire.
I guess I've never thought about Kane's penis before. Clearly you have.
I have. Well,
you're right. It probably has been a little...
Let's workshop it.
Okay.
Kane's penis probably burn off in the fire.
I mean, I've always been, I think it's maybe common. You might get distracted by a bulge here or there.
Correct, yes. Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig did it to me all the time.
Oh, man. And, I don't remember seeing much of a bulge there. I mean, he certainly was no... Rick the Model Martel, certainly a large bulge.
He had very bulge-free pants.
Yeah. I mean, X-Pac, arguably the least amount of bulge of any superstar.
Almost
love him. But
do you know him?
I have not. No, I have not met him actually.
Oh, okay. Well, we should call him and tell him about his bulge. Anyway.
Oh yeah. We'll backspace over that, right? We're gonna edit this down, right?
We got you.
Yeah.
We got you.
I love you, X-Pac. Large penis from what I hear. There's video proof out there. There's video proof out there, which I may or may not have seen. Make sure you go to incognito mode on Chrome if you go to check that out.
I thought 123 Kid was describing his. Okay, all right, all right. So that is Kane, also going to the Hall of Fame. We'll discuss him a little bit later. Here's a theme. Here's a guy I never would have thought would have worked in WWE. And they also nailed him from the very start when he joined the company. Go ahead with theme number 3. Like, that's such a dickhead theme.
Works so well for him.
And, so well.
I mean, I guess I'm calling him a dickhead, and I don't think he would disagree with that.
Yeah.
I'm picturing the smile.
Right.
The slow strut out.
Yeah.
Oh,
the used car salesman. Shake. Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask you this. In WCW, did he have a main theme, or would he just roll
came
with
out to
NWO?
Theme, yeah. Mm-hmm. He came out to NWO, and he might have had his own edit where the voiceovers were him in it, but he definitely didn't have his own thing. He might have one at the end when it was Russo and him, but I was gone by that point.
Because I thought that this song was so good, I almost thought that this was a pre-existing song, and I don't think that is the case.
Yeah, that's a great point. But I know, here's the thing: when you hear a theme and you say that's really good, you can almost guarantee that WCW definitely didn't write it,
right?
Because they had like 3 good themes in the history of the company. But this again, he comes out in 2002, makes his debut, and they nailed every part of this character from the start. He was a sleazy piece of shit coming from Atlanta. And this music is like, it's like you'd hear this music at a strip club at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday.
This would be a good song for a strip club.
I'm saying.
I mean, it's...
You walk in, and there's a guy opening a month's worth of mail at the end of a bar in a strip club. You know, it's the daily guys that are just terrible.
Right.
And you walk in, and I'm back.
Yeah, no, I'm reading, the horse results. I'm going to look right up if I hear that
song.
The horse
results or the horse?
The horsies.
Oh, horses.
Yeah,
I thought you meant the whores.
No, I don't know about
they'll
those
be on
strip
stage
clubs.
later.
Great song.
It's a very good theme.
I was a big fan of HLA during that
Hot
time.
Lesbian Action.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a young teenager, that was mine.
Wow. I forgot about it, HLA, until you said that just now.
And then Rosie and Jamal would come out.
3-minute warning.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
All right.
And just beat the shit out of them.
No, they're not both dead.
No.
Just one, right?
Just
Rosie.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yeah.
Both
Rosie.
of them are.
Just Rosie. No. I think Jamal's fine.
No, because wasn't that Umaga?
No. What? This is not how I wanted to start.
I'm sorry.
I apologize.
You all right?
No. I'm just trying to get all my pieces together. I think I forgot that Umaga had passed, so I just experienced it once again.
Was Jamal Umaga? Damn it.
Yes, he was.
We just killed 2 guys right at the beginning.
All right, so
you know what? I have the perfect theme to forget this ever happened.
I don't know if I'm...
I have the perfect theme.
I don't know.
Were you a WCW guy?
I'll tell you, it's an interesting story. I was so committed to WWE, I did refuse to watch WCW because I was so behind that WWE flag. I felt that I'd be cheating on them to flip the channel to TNT.
See, I'd
watch the commercials on USA.
I was the opposite. I was the guy that grew up a WWE fan, but then when Hogan went over and turned heel, I was like, WCW got me back into wrestling because in 95, 96, WWF, it wasn't cool. And I was watching Hogan and them got me back, but then as soon as they got me back, here comes Austin, here comes Rock, here comes the Attitude Era to say, no, you belong over here for good. And I ended up going back. But I was definitely a WCW guy for a year and a half, 2 years that got me back into wrestling, and then WWE stole me. But I hope you will know this theme, though, so let's go with this theme, the greatest song ever written by human people. You're telling me that don't feel good? If that don't feel good, you can fuck right off. Come on.
I mean, I don't want to get thrown off the show this early in. The song is one thing. The superstar, Disco Inferno, where does he sit?
Don't give a shit about it.
Okay. Because when I hear Disco Inferno, I think of 50 Cent's Disco Inferno, certainly a classic. But this was interesting because during the time there was...
He's just a disco dancing fool. Sorry.
Could we turn my headphones down a little bit, please? We just turn them down a little bit. It seemed like a WWE sort of act. Right? I mean,
very much.
WWE, they had Sparky Plug, race car driver.
Everybody had a job.
Duke
the Dumpster Drosy. Yeah.
Exactly. It was its own Sesame Street, essentially, over there. And then you didn't have that really in WCW. They were trying to maybe go in another direction. But then Disco Inferno comes out. Yeah. So that seemed like he was the black sheep of that group. It's so funny because when I saw this list, I had to search. I thought Disco Inferno was going into the Hall of Fame. I have listened to a lot of your shows, but I guess I've been missing the fact that Disco Inferno has become a staple here, 18 now, 19 episodes in.
I think he's on his 5th episode. I played his theme a couple weeks ago just to get myself going, and it just works, man.
Yeah, your shoulders are moving.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I didn't even mean to along with you, but it just happened.
It's easy.
Okay, well.
Disco Fever. Yeah. And today,
Disco Fever.
Today, this actually fits. Karrion Kross, do you know who he was trained by? Disco Inferno. It's all...
Disco Inferno?
Who was he trained by? Is that what you're saying?
Wait, Disco Inferno trained... Really?
Disco Inferno, Glenn Gilberti, he trained Karrion Kross.
Because you did a nice tease last week, and I thought that might be the case, but then I was like, no, there's no way. Because, I mean, they just seem like such polar opposites.
Right.
The in-ring styles don't seem to work, but... That's amazing.
At least that's what his Wikipedia says.
And they're never wrong.
No.
I mean, it's gotten very good.
Wikipedia, anybody can put anything, so you're getting the best information.
I'll tell you, I'm on Wikipedia all the time, especially for wrestling. There's a lot of good stuff on there, and very rarely is it wrong.
Ever.
I mean, I don't think so.
All right, so this week in wrestling, I'm ready. Are you ready? You got your mind right for wrestling?
I'm right. Mine's always right.
We got we got printouts this week. I never print anything out. But we got printouts this week because we have a guest, Dan Vollmeyer. If you're just now listening in, although it's a podcast, so it's not like you wouldn't be listening from the start. You know what? Forget it. You already know who Dan Vollmeyer is.
This isn't on the FM dial?
He worked at could be someday.
One day, yeah. Right? Barcelona Radio.
97.9, The Axe.
Yeah, right.
With wrestling.
Afternoon Drive.
I don't know why it would be The Axe, though.
I would need like a horn or something or some sound effects.
Mr. Scream.
Yeah.
All right, so WWE Mania is taking shape. We've got 4 matches added since we last left you. I also want to talk about Dynamite in a minute. We want to talk about the Hall of Fame class and, of course, NXT. But WrestleMania is front and center. This is WrestleMania 37. There will be 25,000 people in the stands. People online still want to get indignant about that. They want to say, oh, they shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be there. Listen, you don't want to go, don't go. If you want to go, go. That's the way I look at it. I just can't. If it's socially conscious of me, so my lunch came up. If it's socially conscious of me, whatever. I just want to see fans in the stands again. I want to hear a crowd. I want to see reaction. That might be selfish of me as a wrestling fan, but I don't care. I get to do that.
I think we're at the point now where we're ready to do this. We're seeing it with the NBA. We saw it at the Super Bowl. My God, I mean, same venue.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do it. I mean, I really hope that Vince doesn't get an itch to break another attendance record at the last minute and try to act like he's at the AT&T Center in Dallas. But
I don't think we can rule that out.
We certainly cannot. I mean, they'll bust people in from, who knows where. But it's going to be so cool to get those fan reactions.
Yeah.
It's going to be It's going to be great.
I mean, we haven't seen fans react to something in a year, and I understand the Thunderdome is what it is, and it's better than nothing. But
it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's
working within the system that we have.
Correct. Given what is available, the Thunderdome has been fantastic.
I mean, think back to when it was just at the Performance Center. I mean, you look back at that stuff. Well, that is sad.
Mania last year is hard to watch.
Oh, it was very
I was
hard.
watching a top 20 video on the top 20 title changes at Mania.
I saw
that they just put it out, and Drew's win last year was like number 17, and it just stands out like a sore thumb because everyone. And now we're so far into this pandemic. When you watch an event that has fans and crowds, you're like, oh my god. Mm-hmm. Or why aren't they wearing masks?
Well,
what's wrong with those people?
I'm going to be looking for mask wearers. I think I will still, as much as I am excited to see fans in the stands, if I see masks off, unless they are drinking a cold one, I'm going to point it out and might even do a screenshot and do a little bit of a detective dick work.
You should screenshot.
I think
should out them.
That'll get me at least 3 or 4 likes on Twitter.
Have them fired from their job. That would make you feel better about your life.
Yeah, no, I think that would be something to do. I mean, it's not like you're saying something anti-Semitic, but I mean, you're certainly not contributing to society.
Well,
right?
I mean, we're only 9 minutes into the show. I'll get to the anti-Semitic stuff in a minute.
I know we like to do that at least in the second half.
Right. Yeah,
perfect.
Second half.
Yeah.
That's the second half.
Right, we don't want to lose the audience right away.
Right.
Come on.
Oh boy, I guess I'll scratch off favorite racial slurs.
Oh man.
Top five slurs. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
I can say you say the word racial slurs without being a racial slur. That was okay.
You can say. So what, you would see someone and call them a racial slur?
No.
You racial slur? Get out of the way. I mean, is that
slur?
what you meant? Yeah. Slur word?
All right, so
WrestleMania is shaping up. Are we going to talk about some of the matches? What are you most excited for?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Am I allowed to go off script
do you
here?
Host this
I'm sorry.
Do you want to?
In all of our pre-show conversations, I'm excited to have you run the show. Dan plays sidecar, spoken to only when spoken at.
Is this a WWE sweatshirt that you've got?
This is a Royal Rumble. Yep.
That's an awesome
sweatshirt.
sweatshirt.
Back down in Houston, yeah.
That's a fantastic sweatshirt.
Yeah, I mean, Texas, I guess, is a fun state. I wish it wasn't so prominent on here because people will ask me if I'm from Texas. Certainly not.
It's very big.
Yeah, but, it has the little star for Houston, has the date right here.
Did you know that today, March 29th, actually, you tweeted the damn thing, didn't you?
Yeah.
Never mind. I was just about to.
No, what is it? 3?
So it's WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 14, and 31. 3 pretty good Manias, right?
31, yeah. Mm-hmm.
3 was great. 3's an elite Mania. 14, very good Mania. That has Austin getting to the top. And then 31 with Seth Rollins doing the surprise at the end. 3 pretty good Manias, all on March 29th.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you know that, what's the day, April 5th or April 1st, that has this tie with four Manias on those days?
April 1st and April 2nd, I believe, are tied.
Have 4 Manias? Okay.
Yeah. I feel like they're always looking for that first Sunday in April.
This is the latest Mania of all time this year, right?
It is, yeah. I guess, why not give them an extra week to, I don't know, hose down the stadium with...
You think there's going to be hoses?
I mean, of Purell.
You know what I like to think? I like to think Austin backs a beer truck in there and he sprays off all the seats.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Like everything they've ever done. Like Kurt Angle has a milk truck on one side.
Right. Why does it smell like dairy in here? It's just like...
It stinks in here. It
smells
like beer and old milk.
Wow. But hey, there's fans in the stands. Who cares about the smell? Yes.
So we came into this.
We
came into WrestleMania 37 a couple weeks ago, and it looked like, Edge wins the Royal Rumble. He comes back. I don't know that a whole lot of fans have really gotten with the Edge versus Roman story. I don't know if a lot of fans have really embraced Edge winning the Royal Rumble yet, because there's always the specter of Daniel Bryan hanging around. It seems like every single spring, every single Mania, the fans cling on to Daniel Bryan and they want him to get in the action. And now this time it's going to be Edge, Roman, and Daniel Bryan. And forget about the storyline, forget about all that. There's going to be 3 professional-ass wrestlers in a triple threat. This is going to be very, very good quality.
Professional ass wrestlers?
Professional ass wrestlers, brother.
Okay, all right. I'm not familiar with that type of wrestling, but
well, you can put ass on anything.
So there going to be some ass wrestling going on.
If I brought you some good pizza, I said this is some good pizza, but then I said this is some good ass pizza. Which one are you eating? you're going to eat the ass beats.
I guess it depends on how quickly you say ass after the word good. Because if we're going to have some good ass pizza.
Did I not say it close enough to professional?
Well, I mean, it sounded to me like there was going to be some ass wrestling. And I'm picturing it now. And actually, it's kind of, I don't know if it's main event WrestleMania worthy, but especially a triple threat.
You know what, though? I mean, there was a time that I'm shocked Vince didn't do ass wrestling.
I am too. I am too.
The Attitude Era.
With Rikishi and
I'm
Big
surprised
Show.
we didn't get Mae Young against Moolah in an ass match.
Yes, and Vince just in the middle of the whole thing.
I mean, he had Mr. Ass. He had Rikishi. He had asses everywhere.
We're going to have an ass wrestling match. Oh, you're fired. I mean, what a missed opportunity.
It would have been Mr. Ass against Rikishi. Yeah,
and the referee just right in the middle of it, calling it right down the middle, literally.
Yeah,
literally.
Oh,
boy, okay.
So no, it's going to be these three guys. Whatever you think about the storyline, Roman Reigns is doing the best work of his career.
Absolutely,
I think he's been fantastic. So this head of the table is the best storyline he's ever been involved in. He is in command. Edge, you're going to get the goods with Edge. He never comes into an event like this and doesn't give you one of the best matches on the card. And then Daniel Bryan, once again, is in this spot, this high-profile spot. I think it has a chance to be a real special type match.
On paper, this is great.
Yeah.
My only problem is how they kind of rear-ended Daniel Bryan into this. I thought it could have been done a little bit cleaner. I mean, I think back to why he feels as though he's earned the right to be in the match. Because you go back to Fastlane, Daniel Bryan was the one that knocked out the referee. Daniel Bryan was the one who hit Edge with a chair. So you could make Roman tap all you want. It's your fault that you don't have a referee to call that tap. So that null and voids everything. I don't see a screw job having occurred with Edge coming in because, as you know, if you're a wrestler, if you get hit with a chair, all bets are off. Yeah. That wrestler is no longer going to help assist you in that match.
That being said, I don't know that I love. I wish we could have gone back to like January, and Edge is an all-time great, a Hall of Famer. I think I just would have had Daniel Bryan win the title and have it be Daniel Bryan against Roman Reigns. Eventually, that has to happen on top of a Mania, right?
So where do you see Edge landing then?
I don't know.
There was rumors about another Randy Orton match.
I certainly didn't want that.
No,
I didn't want that at all.
No, not another 40-minute, run through a warehouse.
I did not want that. That's a great question. But what we've got is what we've got, and I think it'll be very good.
Love triple threat matches, and you know what's good about this is that Roman can lose the title without actually, doing the job, and that's what they want.
I think we're headed towards Daniel Bryan probably winning this match.
Really?
I think that's where we're headed. I don't really love the idea of Roman at the height of his career losing the title. I'd love to see him keep it, but even if he loses it, he'll probably lose it as the third party in the ring, and he'll have a claim to it right afterwards, and he won't go anywhere.
I mean, you don't think that this is all about Edge getting one last shot with the title? I mean, my God, they did it how many times with Goldberg?
But don't you think, Dan, if it were about that, why add Daniel Bryan? You already had him win the Rumble.
So Roman doesn't have to do the job.
So he doesn't have to eat the pin?
Exactly. That's what I think. And, I mean, how else is Roman going to lose? Because I don't see him losing any other way. It's an easy way to just shake things up, and Roman will win it back, a couple months later.
Now, as far as the main events go, I think all four main events, I think there's some bad matches on this card. I think there's some very good matches on this card. Like down the card, there's Seth Rollins against Cesaro, which has no stakes, and it's seemingly just built because this is WrestleMania. But they're taking a couple of internet darling matches from 10 years ago, and Seth Rollins and Cesaro, and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and they're kind of putting them on Mania. At the very least, they're going to be great matches. You know that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are always going to be great.
I mean, they've dreamed about being able to share the spotlight at WrestleMania. So I know everyone's kind of saying, oh, we've seen this before. You haven't seen this. This is going to be completely different at Mania.
I think so, too. And then there's the bad matches. Like, I know why you push a celebrity. I know why you use it. Miz and Bad Bunny does nothing for me.
Nothing
at all.
Nothing. And, I like Booker T. I heard that there was a song that Booker T was in. I was excited for it.
Yeah.
Turned it on. I had to turn it off. And it was unfortunate. And I don't dabble in the Latina music quite as much as you do, but I just didn't seem to – I don't think my brain works enough to follow along with the song.
Not
and that's
quite as
my problem.
Developed as my Mississippi brain.
No, I mean, you were certainly closer to Miami, and I believe you would weekend down there to South Beach.
Mm-hmm. With the weekend.
Yeah, and you had the roller skates, I know.
It was fun. It was fantastic. The match I hate the most on the card, do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
I just can't believe, of all the storylines in all the world that they've ever done, this Fiend and Randy Orton story just will not stop. It's been going for months and months and months and months. And I know they're going to have probably a cinematic match with a lot of gaga, and it'll probably be very well done. I just can't be bothered.
Where's the exit on this?
I don't know where the exit
we need an off-ramp.
I feel like we're about 10 miles past the exit.
Yeah.
Because you've dedicated Alexa, Randy Orton, and The Fiend all to one story for the last 3. Like, when you pull out of this, where are they going? Because they've all been hyper-focused on each other for so long. Now, I assume somebody's getting a long break after Mania, because this is going to be one of those matches where they're going to have to almost bury somebody.
Someone is literally going to have third-degrry burns.
Right. They're going to do something crazy. I think it'll be their cinematic match this year. I think we'll always get a cinematic match now at Mania since
I've not thought about that.
They've been so good.
And they've had one together before where it was
the Firefly Funhouse match.
Well, yes, but even prior to that, the one where they were in, I guess, Sister Abigail's
that's right.
house,
that's
which
right.
was okay. I mean, it felt like a movie. It definitely was cinematic.
Remember the Mania match they had where they put the stuff on the floor, the ring? They
the worms and stuff? I couldn't stand that.
That wasn't great.
That, I'm trying to have a little dinner here and, with hang out with the wife, and next thing I know, I'm looking at worms. Don't need that. I mean, I like Boogeyman and all, but I mean, I was not a fan of that. But, I mean, The Fiend, are you a Fiend guy?
I'm not a Fiend guy. I'm not a horror movie guy.
Where are we going to go with this?
I don't know.
feel like he's just hitched his wagon, his career, if you will, to being a part of this sideshow gimmick. I mean, it's trying to be The Undertaker, but it's never going to be that.
Well, when he started and he had the intro with the lamp, the lamp, I thought, this works, man.
Absolutely.
But they couldn't resist the temptation to just go full horror show with it, full special effects, full everything. And once you do that, the believability's gone out the window. And believability's not that big of a deal in wrestling, because everybody's in on the gag, everybody's in on the joke. But you can't be setting people on fire and then coming back 3 weeks later.
Right.
I feel like once you get set on fire, you've just determined. I don't know. They're going to wrestle at Mania. It's my least favorite match of the card. Of the 4 main events, we have Sasha Bianca. We have Asuka, Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's title. And then we have, we've already talked about the triple threat, Roman, Edge, and Bryan. And then you have Drew and Bobby Lashley. What's the main event of this show? It feels like it's probably Roman, whatever match Roman's in at this point.
I'll start by saying I think it's a no-brainer, and it would be a missed opportunity if you didn't have Bianca and Sasha close out night 1.
I agree.
Maybe it's for, I was going to say the wrong reasons, but also the right reasons. I think that there'll be a lot of publicity to have 2 female African Americans close out Mania. And I guess you might know better than I. Has there been a Mania that featured 2 African Americans one-on-one before? So
certainly not a main event, right?
Right. So I think that's the way that they're going to go. But to counter that means that I agree the triple threat also has to be a main event. So that's 2 SmackDown main events, and I could see the Raw folks being like, "Hey, man, throw me a bone over here."
Yeah, but I don't think Asuka and Rhea Ripley is far enough up to really have a claim on it, because this is kind of a thrown together thing. Now, hopefully it is. I love Asuka, but I'd love for this to be like the coming of Rhea Ripley, where she just shows up, wins the title at Mania, and then her career is off and running. I've said on this show, I'll say it again, I believe Sasha Banks is the best wrestler in the world right now. I don't think she's the best women's wrestler in the world. You smiled.
I've had a come-to-Jesus moment with Sasha. I was not on board with her for quite some time, but over the last few months, I've really changed my tune with that. I think she is absolutely phenomenal. And just seeing her at Fastlane in the tag match, and I'm looking at the other competitors in there, no disrespect to them, but they're just not on Sasha's level. Not by far.
I agree. I guess I had a different kind of path with Sasha. She was always my favorite of this group. I was, coming up in the Attitude Era in the 80s and in the 90s, women's wrestling wasn't on the pedestal it is now. It wasn't built up, and I never really cared. I always felt weird watching women in bikinis or bras, and I didn't like it. I want to watch wrestling for the wrestling, and I just never got into it. But then you had the 4 horsewomen come up, the women's revolution: Sasha, Charlotte, Bayley, Becky Lynch. You throw Asuka in there, several more that have made the women's division a legitimate. It's you call it the women's division because it's women, but it's no better or worse than the men's division at this point. It's just a separate division.
I mean, Hell in a Cell. I mean, my God, it seems like the women steal that show every single year. It's unbelievable what they do.
The show that flipped me on this was I never thought I'd enjoy a women's match, and it was I'm just being honest. It was NXT Brooklyn Takeover Sasha Bayley 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And
Seth crying in the audience.
That's when I became a gigantic Sasha fan. I still am today. But Bianca she's the next one, man. She's something. She's athletic. She's awesome.
You see her going over in this match?
I do. I don't think you put Bianca in this place not to put her over. I think you kind of rubber stamp her and say this is our next star.
I think because I've just so recently got on the Sasha bandwagon, albeit late, I just am so excited for her. I would hate to see her lose that. But Bianca's exciting. I mean, is everyone really excited for Bianca? I mean,
I feel like they are.
Yeah,
it's hard to gauge. It's hard to gauge because it's all a bunch of TV screens watching.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it feels like there's a groundswell. It feels like that she's kind of got that rocket ship behind her.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the last main event is a main event that if you booked it 5 years ago, you get laughed at. If you booked it 3 years ago, you get laughed at. Drew McIntyre doing the best work of his career. Bobby Lashley looks like an absolute $1 million star every time he's out there now. This is the best Bobby Lashley's ever looked, the best Drew. I think they're the problem now. Here's their problem. They built this whole thing to give Drew his moment at WrestleMania that he didn't get last year.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly what they built. Their problem is Bobby Lashley has ascended to a level that it's hard to take the belt off him right now, too. He's as red hot as he's ever been. And MVP and Bobby Lashley together are a tour de force there. You have 2 guys in a one-on-one match. I can make a legitimate case that both of them should win this match.
I think maybe you have to go no holds barred with it in order to kind of make it more believable to have Bobby drop the title. I mean, I think we all agree that is what will happen. But I feel like that Sheamus match at Fastlane was so phenomenal. I mean, just these 2 big bruisers going at it. I worry that the match will feel a bit similar to that, and I'm curious to see how they might pivot.
I don't think that's a bad thing, though. Like the last 6 months, last 3 months, and I don't know where Keith Lee is. He's in the void right now. But Keith Lee had a match with Drew that was incredible on Raw. Mm-hmm. Sheamus and Keith Lee had a couple of matches that were great. Bobby Lashley has had matches. Like, they've got 4 or 5 hosses on the Raw side now where it's just like they put them in there, get 10 minutes, and it's just physical. It's go after you, and it's very good. I think Lashley and Drew are going to be a hell of a clash.
Steal the show, though?
Not steal the show, because I think that triple threat's a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been a fan of the big guy wrestlers, I suppose, or maybe it's big guy on big guy.
Yeah.
We're talking wrestling here.
Well, let's not rule anything out.
Okay. No, it's early. And so, I don't know. I like the fast high flyers, the RVDs of the world, if you will. Still teasing that a little bit.
I didn't love I didn't mean to cut you off. Like, I didn't love the Andres or the Undertakers or the Kanes when they were on there. Like, but now I think they kind of perfected a Hoss match where these big guys aren't just lumbering, plodding guys. Like Drew particularly, I mean, he can do everything that the small guys can do.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. Yep, I guess.
I don't know. I'm into that. I'm into that match.
Orlando, yeah,
I'm into that match. But it's gonna.
Bobby looks like $1 million. I mean, he really does. Put a suit on him,
Wrestlers
no
in
more
suits.
Lana.
Wrestlers in suits always works.
And it's fun because they try to get physical in that, and then remember the time The Rock couldn't get that button.
But let me give you examples of wrestlers in suits, okay? So wrestlers in suits, it has worked with Bobby Lashley because wrestlers are big, good-looking, physical guys. You throw a suit on them, they're going to look awesome. So Evolution, tell me how that wouldn't have worked without the suits.
No, man.
The suits. Remember when Chris Jericho got serious in 2008? And he went from like Y2J, and he had the feud with Shawn Michaels, and he started coming out in suits.
Oh yeah, when he was hanging out with Big Show.
Yeah. Chris Jericho in suit. It's just suits work in wrestling.
I think it makes it feel like a legit sport, especially now. I mean, with the Conor McGregors of the world showing up to events looking like $1 million. And I mean, my God, Seth Rollins with the, I don't even know if you call that clothing. I mean, he looked like he had murdered a peacock and then just taped some feathers together. Yeah.
What if he did? And you made a joke about it. Some poor peacock wife was sitting at home.
I don't think it's a joke. I think I would be alerting the locals and hopefully PETA to have a groundswell and go after Seth. I mean, I know he's with a brand new child, and I would hate to see him go to trial or have red paint thrown at him or his baby. But
that's my advice. If you're a wrestler and you're not over, throw a suit on. See how it goes.
Throw a suit on.
I don't know who that would apply to right now, but
a cummerbund too. Love the $1 Million Man with the cummerbund.
Suit. God, suits are so good on wrestling. All right, so that is WrestleMania. WrestleMania taking shape. Yeah. Everything good. Right. Yep. Hall of Fame. Let's have this discussion. The Hall of Fame. This is taking shape too. We've got. Oh shit. The lady. Who's the lady? Was it Molly Holly?
Yeah, Molly Holly.
Molly Holly. Good for her. She seems. I've never worked at WWE, so I don't know the inner workings or how people are viewed from inside the company. But I've never seen a person say a bad word about Molly Holly.
No, she was certainly a workhorse. Showed up every day. Real, lunchbox worker. Is that a saying?
Lunch pail.
Thank you. And yeah, you're right. No one could say a bad thing about her. She certainly had a lot of gimmicks that I think a lot of people might have said, "Hey, is this really the direction we want to go?" No, team player. Let's do it.
So now in the last couple of weeks, we have learned that Kane. That was on the bump last week.
I didn't see that coming.
You didn't see it coming?
I didn't. I thought Kane was maybe a few years away, to be honest, because I don't like to think, and not joining the Hall of Fame certainly doesn't make you no longer able to compete.
Right.
But I still saw him maybe a few more rumbles to kind of keep his record alive.
Still a couple more bullets left in the chamber for him.
Exactly.
So Kane is going in, which is, I think he's the headliner of the class. No brainer. Again, he debuts '97. They nailed it from the start, and he was just a steady guy for almost 2 decades. Whenever they needed a big, intimidating presence, if they needed to get somebody over, whatever they needed, Kane could be the monster, Kane could be the bridge, Kane could be whatever he needed to be, and he was always, the music always played. It was always entertaining. It was never a character where I was like, God, Kane again. I never got to that point. I think some people have, but I think Kane. A fully no-brainer Hall of Famer. Certainly we'll have The Undertaker go in one year, Triple H go in. But as you go through these first ballot no-doubters, Kane near the top of the list.
Kane is the head of the class for this one,
I would think so.
Not the great Khali. I mean, does anyone have a better walk to the ring than that man? I swear I do.
Is that a walk to the ring?
That is a, I don't know. The bottom half of the body is not connected to the top half of the body. And, I do.
I wish I was like that. I wouldn't have 4 kids.
You have 4 kids?
I have 4 kids.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Very successmail penis. So
wow. So they're just going to raise that up to the rafters? I mean, is the penis retired from baby making?
Yeah, no. We folded that thing and put it away.
Yeah, right.
Like a flag of a dead soldier.
Yep. Right there. And there was the trumpets playing, and it was really a great event. Mm-hmm. Man, I wish I knew you at the time. I would have been there.
Oh. So, Great Khali was going in.
Yeah. I was watching WWE India, as I'm sure you watch.
All the time.
Yeah, yes. And I didn't see it coming.
It's a spicy show.
I didn't see it coming because it's not a lot of it is in English. I'm lying. For all I know, it's completely in English.
Is there really a...
There is a WWE India show. I think it's a recap show that airs exclusively on YouTube.
I knew they did a pay-per-view a couple of weeks ago. Or not a pay-per-view, but a special event.
That's right. They did.
It was about a month ago, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money out there. You got to
go get it.
Cater to that crowd.
Speaking of... So now, RVD. RVD is a no-doubt Hall of Famer. Even if you just talk about what he did in ECW, he's a Hall of Famer. But he also had a good run in WWE. He was... Was he WWE champion or world champion? I think he's WWE champion when he beat Cena, right?
Yep, that's correct.
So he was WWE champion. They probably put the belt on him about 5 years too late. I thought 2001 during the invasion, there was Rock, there was Austin, and there was RVD. He was very, very hot. and he never got it then. I thought he could have got it in 01, 02, around the Triple H Reign of Terror, 02 and 03. RVD probably could have got a run there. Didn't get it, but he ended up getting it later. RVD, for sure, a Hall of Famer. I never got into him very much.
Tell me about that.
So
you want to lay down? I want to hear.
There's two reasons. Okay. There's two reasons. A, his ECW stuff, excellent wrestler, incredible. That fucking whistle. I can't stand that whistle. Bill Alfonso, the manager, just ruins the matches. I can't watch it.
Oh, come on. It's a small part of it.
How is that a small part? It's just nonstop.
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to... does the trombone that Xavier walks out with bother you?
No, that's funny. I'm sorry. I'm telling you my opinion.
Yeah, you're right.
You're trying to correct my opinion.
Okay, so Bill Alfonso, we're not a fan of him.
Not a fan of him, but his
excellent
work was
teeth. Excellent teeth.
His work was great. In fact, I was in Jacksonville AEW a couple weeks ago, and we were backstage. I was just watching Jerry Lynn he was talking to Don Callis, Chris Jericho, and he was just telling stories about his matches with RVD. It was incredible to be able to watch that. But you go back; those matches were incredible. So in WWE, here's the thing I didn't like about Rob Van Dam, and this is really stupid, but I hate it. I hate it because a lot of people have taken up this mannerism. I hate that every time he did the frog splash...
Oh, yeah. I'm on board with you. I know where you're going with this.
I hate that every time he did the frog splash, he would land on somebody and immediately coil up and hold his ribs as if he was hurt, and he would always take 3 or 4 seconds before he would pin, and he did it every single time. It's an offensive move.
I have that written down. That is my probably one and only major issue with RVD.
Every single time.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's an offensive
move. What are we doing here?
And Macho Man Randy Savage, when he hit the elbow, never got up holding his elbow.
No.
Eddie Guerrero never did this when he did the frog splash. It's an offensive move, and I hated it. It took me out of his matches every time he did it.
And just the kicking and the back and forth. And it takes away from it because he's still going to go for the pin once 10 minutes go by and then he gets on there. But that's what's fun about a top rope move like what Macho does. It's elbow and then right to the pin.
Right.
Why couldn't someone say to him, or maybe he has bad ribs. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, then don't do the frog splash.
Give him the D'Lo Brown catchers.
When he did the Rolling Thunder, that always ended up in a splash, right? Didn't he?
He would jump onto the back, but he wasn't selling his back he was 80 years old.
There were other moves that would jar his ribs.
I would love to, if we ever get a chance to talk to RVD, and I say we, you, that would be a great question to ask, or maybe that's an off-limit question. I don't know.
I would hope that isn't an off-limit question.
He better be prepared to have a good answer.
Smoking weed and hanging out with
he was doing some stuff at Impact for a little bit, which I guess he maybe knew.
I guess that's
the Hall was coming and he needed to distance himself.
Yeah, so
50 years old. Can you believe that?
No, he does. He seems like a perpetually young guy. Mm-hmm. But great wrestler, awesome. Those were 2 presentations of his character I didn't like, and his butt sweat. He had a lot of butt sweat.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, well,
I did love his different singlets. They were always singlets. I don't know why I'm pronouncing it like that. They were always a lot of fun. Worked in the yin yang. It would always sneak in a 420 somewhere. It was almost kind of like a Where's Waldo every time he came out. Well, I would assume that at some point you would have had to stop doing it. I know Road Dogg, and by the way, we wish him the very best. They certainly sold plenty of merch with 420 on there, but that eventually stopped. But I think up until even his last match would sneak 420 in there. By the way, would you believe this? RVD 4-0 at WrestleManias. Among active wrestlers, he has the longest WrestleMania win streak.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I went on Wikipedia.
There's 2 things that are shocking about that. A, he doesn't strike me as a guy that they used him a lot of ways. He didn't win a whole lot of matches. He won matches, but to go 4-0 is surprising. The second thing is he was only at 4 WrestleManias.
Yeah.
Because he seems like he was around forever.
Yeah, he would come and go, and you're right. You would think that he would have had more opportunities.
Yeah.
Certainly to be 4-0. I don't think he was having any championship title matches.
No.
Certainly the first was the Money in the Bank, which was, I guess, the second Money in the Bank, which was, I guess, in L.A. But the other active streaks, Matt Cardona, 3-0 at WrestleMania.
Zack Ryder.
Yes, Zack Ryder. And then number 2, what was it? I don't know.
Oh, good.
I don't know, but so RVD's in good company there with Matt Cardona. Shouts to Matt Cardona. He's a great guy.
I've been talking to Matt Cardona.
One of the funniest guys you'll ever meet.
Really?
Oh, man.
He's going to be on the show soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. He's a
a
Long Island guy.
He's a childhood friend that works here.
He has a childhood friend that works here.
Mm-hmm.
One of the funniest things
At least that's what the guy tells me. So I assume he's right.
I'll tell you, I pop so hard. He tells me he loves talking about his toy collection. He says that his house it's going to be on an episode of Hoarders. I mean, there's no more room to walk around in. But he goes, to get through the house, man, I have to do the Scott Hall walk just to get through up to the bedroom. I'm like, that was funny. And I'm sure it was funny when he said it. Yeah. Not when I repeated it.
It was funny.
No, I thought it was creative. I mean, and I'm sure he, drops that bomb all the time.
Yeah, he's probably it's in the Rolodex. A lot.
Yeah.
And Eric Bischoff in the WWE Hall of Fame, the chief rival of WWE at the heyday, or WWF back then. Certainly somebody that took it to Vince more than anybody's ever taken it to Vince. Vince not used to the direct competition that could actually stand up to him. Eric Bischoff did it, but all that water on the bridge. Eric Bischoff ended up joining WWE as a on-air talent in 2002. He's been on air. He's been backstage some. He's been on air. He's been backstage. He's kind of gone in and out of WWE for about 15 years. But certainly you can't tell the story of wrestling in North America without talking to Eric Bischoff. Easy peasy Hall of Famer.
Yep, and I think it comes at a pretty obvious time. I mean, you talked about WCW being the rival. Who's the WWE rival right now? AEW. I think that there was worry that the clutches of AEW and Cody Rhodes might have tried to get him involved in AEW, and this is a surefire way to avoid that, at least for the time being.
Well, he was just there. He was just on Dynamite a month ago.
Right, he was right there with you guys.
Right by me, yeah.
Yeah.
So
he looks great, by the way. I mean,
he does.
A handsome older gentleman.
Shockingly nice guy.
Very nice.
Shockingly, like you think Eric Bischoff because he's always played an asshole.
You're right.
And
totally right.
And he's a super nice guy. He was really nice. Took time with me.
Good listener.
I was nobody, so that was cool. All right, I'll go very quickly because I feel like we're probably taking more time than we need to take. But I'm having fun talking wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's your Hall of Fame class as it is right now. I'm not missing anybody, right?
I mean, 2020 is going to be included in this, right? So
I don't think they're. Are they?
I believe
Batista
so. NWO. Batista's out for some reason. I'm fine with that. Batista has blocked me on Twitter, and I'm not happy about it. So
what'd you do to Batista?
Well, there's a really funny moment where Mark Henry comes down during a Raw, and Henry gives him a headbutt, and Batista does a supercell.
Yeah.
And I've posted that video a couple times, and I applaud the sell, and I guess he saw it as ironic. And I'm a big fan of Batista. I always supported I guess I was anti people that called him out for being Blue Tista. I thought he looked great in the blue trunks. Not a lot of other people did. So, Batista, I know you're a big listener of the show. If you could take the time to click that little button and maybe unblock me, that would be great.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
If he's listening, I'd be shocked.
Oh, I think he's listening. I think so.
Right. You think Batista's always listening? He's like,
I mean,
why are you whispering? He's not here.
You sure about that?
Okay. All right. Fine. All right. Let's go with. Now you worked at WWE for a year, which we'll probably get into that some other day, some point, because I'd love to just pick your brain about some certain things about who was me and who was not, how good the catering was, shit like that. AEW, All Elite Wrestling. You haven't been allowed to talk about it for a while, probably, right?
I actually tweeted out an AEW hashtag for the first time ever this week. It felt okay, but certainly I've had to.
You still spooked a little bit? I
have to, restrain myself. I've had to restrain myself, and I've certainly watched it and am a big fan of it, and it's one of those things where we wouldn't really talk about it.
Yeah.
But everyone knew about it.
I love WWE all the way back to my childhood. I love NXT, but I love AEW. I love professional wrestling. And anytime, I never looked at it. Of course, if you're in WWE, you're competing. If you're in AEW, you're competing. But when I was a kid, Sunday morning was for WWF, All American Wrestling. I got to watch Hogan. Saturday night was WCW. I got to watch Flair or NWA at the time. So I just always say the more the merrier. I just want options. Anyway, AEW's kind of rolling along pretty good right now, and I just love this group that I think MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, is not the future of AEW. He's the future of professional wrestling. I think he's the most promising young wrestler in years. In the ring, he's good, but outside the ring, he's elite. He is absolutely phenomenal. Maybe the best mic worker to come along in since The Rock.
Yeah, it feels like the 90s when he gets in there, and the way that he's able to carry the story, but then also hit these zingers. I mean, my God, was he going after Jericho hard the other night? And that was just incredible. I mean, I'm laughing. I mean, that's what part of wrestling should be, is the laughing.
Specifically, he said, you're not breaking any walls down. The only thing you're breaking down are the chairs you're sitting in.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And what did he say? Something about his hairline, too?
Yeah, he was vicious. So the Pinnacle, I think they have the best tag team in the world, which is FTR. I love them. I hope it's only a matter of time before they get a run on top, another run on top, as they'll clash against the Bucks, and it'll be a great match. But I just love this Pinnacle group. I love MJF. I love the direction. I love the fact that they're aligned with Tully Blanchard. I love everything about this group and what it means for the future in AEW as far as the storytelling and all that. Not a lot to talk about with AEW because they're not really, they're kind of coming down off Revolution. They'll start ramping up towards their summer pay-per-view in a little bit. But Darby Allin's next program looks like it was with Matt Hardy.
It's nice to see him having a program with someone, not named Sting.
Yeah, and
that took up a lot of his time.
I thought the Darby Allin program with Team Taz and with Sting beside him it was a little bit too long. It kind of took the TNT title out of circulation for a couple of months, which is not what you want to do to your TV title.
Right.
Now it's back. He just defended last week. So I actually he's defended twice in the last 2 weeks. He defended Scorpio Sky in a great match and defended against John Silver in a very good match. So I'd like to see where Darby's going. I can't imagine they're going to keep MJF and that group away from all the titles very long.
Right.
So I figure they'll clean up with Inner Circle, and then MJF is probably going after that TNT title. If I just had to,
I'm just wondering, why do you think Matt Hardy and Darby Allin? I mean, it seems like were they just throwing darts against the wall and they landed on Matt Hardy?
I think they want to reestablish Darby Allin as a fighting champion, and the TNT title is a very often defended title. Matt Hardy now has a group around him that he can throw like 2 or 3 guys at him and then get to the final boss, which is Matt Hardy. It won't be the greatest thing in the world, but you'll get a solid enough match, and it'll be a victory over a name in Matt Hardy. So you can use him that way, I believe.
There have been some great quotes. I guess Jeff Hardy was interviewed recently, and I guess he talked about how he's been getting compared to Darby Allin or vice versa, and Jeff, has felt really good about that. And I wonder if that might come up in a storyline where, hey, Matt, you're not your brother. I mean, something like that. We know AEW is certainly okay with talking about the competition.
Kind of blurring that line if they have to. Yeah,
that would be neat.
That's interesting. And then here's a question that you answered in the negative, and I thought it would be in the affirmative. My text to you or my email, whatever it was, would you rather shoot your own eyes out with a blowtorch or watch Cody Rhodes and his wife's new reality show? And you said you like the wrestling reality shows, Total Bellas, Total Divas.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know how it happened, but my wife was always into the Real Housewives. I didn't really stand for it, but it would just be on, and I would be like, let's turn this off. Next thing you know, I'm shouting at the TV saying, don't call her a bitch. You shouldn't be doing that.
Oh.
And so the Total Divas, Total Bellas was a way for us to, I don't want to say reconnect or, save our marriage. That would be a bit extreme. But we would watch that together, and it was fun because it had the wrestling for me. It had the storylines and the gossip for her. And basically, I don't want to be a blind person. That's the thing. I mean, no offense to anyone who is. I'm sure we have some who are.
They worked for Jake the Snake for a couple of months. They had a match at WrestleMania 7 against the model Rick Martel.
I love that match.
I kind of like it too.
When they bump butts, that was so funny.
Yeah, and the crowd keep making a noise when they would
point. Grabbing the ropes and everything.
I thought it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, me too.
Well, I'm a sucker for that whole Mania though. Seven gets me all the time. I every single match, even the opener with the Rockers and the Hakim Barbarian. I love it. I can watch every second. There's certain Manias I can watch every second of, back and forth. 7's like that. 8's like that.
7, it's just
3's like
bottom.
that. 17's like that. X7, excuse me, I should say.
Warrior Savage, Jake Roberts Martel.
Warrior Savage with Liz at the
Slaughter.
end is my favorite moment in the history of professional wrestling. The Liz reunion with Savage at the end of Warrior and Savage at WrestleMania 7.
Yeah. I'll tell you, there's a lot of great gifts out there from that. I think that there's that one woman wearing the shower cap who jumps up and down.
Yep.
Big Boss Man, Mr. Perfect, British Bulldog versus the Warlord. I mean, my God.
Right. I think there was the Nasties beat the Hart Foundation in a decent little match, and of course Slaughter and Hogan.
And Undertaker started his streak.
It's Snuka, yep.
Yep.
So NXT TakeOver looks stacked. You got Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, which is probably the match I'm most excited about in the next couple of weeks of wrestling. If you take into account everything, I would watch Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole wrestle in a parking lot, wrestle on TV, wherever. This is going to be incredible. You got Cross against Finn Balor. I assume Cross will go over and he'll kind of start his reign on NXT, which should have started in the summer. He got hurt. NXT is the most dependable entity in wrestling. When they put it on TakeOver, it's going to be great. It's going to be entertaining, and I can't wait for NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver 2-night event before WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. I guess the first night will be on USA Network, and
That's
then
right.
over to the Peacock. I know you're a big fan of the Peacock.
I don't want to talk about that this week. I'm struggling.
I had to get it
for
this
7
weekend.
years, man. 7 years. I can watch anything I want to on WWE Network.
It was my comfortable blankie.
It is my blankie. I went to bed every night watching. I still go to bed watching Peacock, but I go to bed every night watching WWE Network, and I was watching Superstars. I was watching everything in the world, and now they're taking it away?
I love going down into that obscure stuff, like just the rabbit holes of like, you know what? Let's watch a Raw from like '94.
It's
and
so
just see
good
what
to just
happened.
do a random Raw that
No
you don't
commercials?
you don't even read the intro. You just play it.
Oh man! And then you can even jump around. I mean, the way that they chaptered each.
It's okay. It's fine. It's
no,
fine.
we're gonna get through this. It's gonna be fine.
Do you think they'll fix it?
I hope so. I don't know though. I guess it's all about getting people to pay to do Peacock. But I don't even like the name Peacock.
Which part do you hate? The P?
Well, I mean, I don't like having to say the word cock. I mean, I know it's not exactly what that means, but it's a bird with a perverted name. Mm-hmm. And I frankly don't like the idea of being around my young children saying, hey, I'm going to go turn on that Peacock.
Well, cock is describing a bird to begin with.
Well, somewhere...
It's only later in life that we decided we would refer to our penises as cocks.
Well, I wasn't involved in that. And
I wasn't either. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but it is what it is. And, I think it was a missed opportunity to just call it... I was going to say...
I kind of like it.
I was going to say the P channel. That's even worse.
That's much worse. I kind of like it. I kind of like... hey, my wife looks up at me at like 9:30 at night. I'm ready to go to bed. She said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to watch Peacock." give her a little wink.
A little wink. Yeah.
Little wink. Hey.
Okay.
But I don't have to go unless in case you want Peacock. Anyway, all right. So NXT TakeOver Stand Deliver. It will be April 7th, Wednesday, April 8th, and we have got one of the principals, one of the main eventers, one of the future stars in WWE. His name is Karrion Kross, and he joined wrestling to talk about that very event. Let's do that right now. All right, welcome back into wrestling, and I have said it before. I will say it again. There's no company on earth, there's no promotion on earth that knows how to do a big show better than NXT. When NXT decides to throw a takeover, they put on quality from start to finish. They know how to do the big shows, and this will arguably be their biggest show yet. April 7th, April 8th, NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver will be headlined by NXT champion Finn Balor. Against our guest today, he is, of course, former NXT champion Karrion Kross. But before we get to all of the great news, I'm bringing him in right now, Karrion Kross. But before we get to all that, Mr. Kross, yesterday you tweeted something very, very controversial, and I'm not going to let it stand. You tweeted, "Demolition Man is one of the greatest movies ever made. That is all." And that was the end of your tweet. Sir, the floor is yours. Defend this take, please.
It's way better than Shawshank Redemption. I don't know what you're talking about.
I wasn't going to talk about Shawshank Redemption. I was just staying in the Stallone universe. I think if we're going early 90s Stallone movies, Cliffhanger is very underrated.
Are you? Oh, hold on a minute.
It's underrated. Wouldn't you argue that Cliffhanger's underrated? What's
your boggle?
What are we off to the start? Okay. I'm saying Demolition Man's a fine movie. Fine movie. I just think
all right.
Certainly Judge Dredd is just as good as Demolition Man.
Well, you know what? Judge Dredd is very good. At those platform boots, you can't beat that.
I agree. And I think if you're looking for a change in the future, platform boots could be your direction.
take note of that.
I don't want to be the guy that tells you it's your career. It's your career. So if you want to do like the cliffhanger thing where you just go shirtless in the snow, fine. If you're going to Judge Dredd where you do the platform boots, fine. Whatever. But that tweet got my attention because anytime you start talking Stallone movies, you're talking my language.
Okay, all right. I understand.
So let's talk your language. NXT TakeOver, Stand and Deliver. I went on about it just a second ago, but I really believe since 2014, I believe there's been, I don't know if there's been 32 of them, 33 of these things now, NXT TakeOvers. They are never not great. They are always fantastic. The competitive atmosphere at NXT is fantastic, but now Karrion Kross will be main eventing against Finn Balor. This is the biggest show NXT's done yet. It's a 2-night show. How do you feel about that, being on top of that show?
I feel very good about it. I'm very motivated, man. I'm very motivated. I can't wait to ping pong this guy off the building. I'm going to beat the hell out of him.
So that's aggressive, but I understand that's where you're coming from. But
yeah.
Finn Balor, one of the greatest champions in NXT history. He was a champion in 2014, 2015. He goes on, becomes a Universal Champion, comes back. He's been on top of NXT for a while now, ever since a certain champion had to give up the title due to a shoulder injury. Talk about the specialness of facing Finn Balor, because this could be anybody. No matter who's in there, you'd be going for the title. But Finn Balor is one of the great NXT champions of all time.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And a question that I get asked all the time is, do you feel like he's, the real NXT champion, or, he's a valid NXT champion? Absolutely. He's had amazing matches in my absence while I was recovering. And since I've gotten back, I wouldn't want to face anybody else in NXT other than Finn Balor at this event. It's important to me because this is an opportunity for me to get back on track to where I feel like we could have been had this not happened. This is a way for me it's an opportunity for me if I can win this, and I'm absolutely certain I can. But if I can win this, I can manifest the original vision that I had for NXT. I can bring things to life that people haven't seen before, being the NXT champion and defending. So it means everything to me.
So you were at the top of the mountain before. You won the title from Keith Lee in a banger of a match, but that match ultimately cost you the title because of the shoulder injury incurred there. How unsatisfying was it to get there and have to go back through the journey again?
I mean, it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. Just a freak accident. I mean, I don't really know what else to call it. It was very strange. When the whole thing happened, it kind of felt like everything was going in slow motion. Like I can't even begin to tell you all of the things that went through my mind right when that happened. I just knew that something was wrong. I tried to shove it back in too. I was trying to push it back in. I was hoping the production people back there didn't see what had happened because I thought they were going to stop the match, but there was no way I could push that back in. So I did my absolute best to carry through with what I could. And the way I look at it is like this: you got to find silver linings in things, right?
Right.
How many times a week do we see somebody get on TV and try to sell you or people at home how tough they are? They're trying to tell you how tough they are. They've done this, they've done that. You can tell anybody whatever you want. You can project whatever you want at anybody at any given time, but actions speak louder than words. And at that moment in time, I had a real opportunity, a very serious opportunity to show people that I wasn't just here for the good times. Mm-hmm. I'm here for all of the times. My shoulder was completely separated. I still don't even have some ligaments in my shoulder right now. I opted out of surgery. I took a holistic approach. I rehabbed it myself, and I came back way faster than I could have. So I looked at that as an opportunity to show people how tough I really am. I'm not going to have to sit here and sell you on it. I'm going to show you. I came back in record time, and that's the perspective that I've adopted out of this. Otherwise, I'll just lose my mind, which I do occasionally on Wednesdays.
Now listen, I don't really like to go on about how tough I am, but I have never broken my shoulder. So perhaps that makes me one of the toughest men in the world.
Perhaps. I mean, if you get that platinum blonde, Wesley Snipes hair as well, you could be even tougher. Just saying.
That is commitment to the bit. That is commitment to the bit, and I like it. I thank you for that. That is a callback to the original Demolition Man. Still, cliffhanger, not bad. He's hanging. He's shirtless in the mountains in ice. I'm gonna win you over on this cliffhanger. It's all right. Don't relax. We'll talk about that later. So I talked about the legacy of NXT and legacy of NXT TakeOver. I don't know what happens inside the NXT locker room when a takeover is coming up, because you guys do great shows every Wednesday night on USA Network. But there's something about takeovers that are just different than any other promotion in the world. What is it that makes NXT takeovers so great from start to finish every single time out?
NXT, I feel like, is its own separate brand. within WWE. It's very hard to pinpoint exactly what's different about it versus Raw and SmackDown, but there's something intangible with the energy in NXT, and everybody knows what I'm talking about if you've seen it. There's a different level of commitment. There's a different level of performance. I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just saying it's different. It's just a different vibe. There's a certain level of intensity that all of us bring to these shows, and we're going to bring it and stand and deliver, as we always do at every takeover.
So I think at some point, and I'm just talking about my experience as a fan. I'm not in the business. I'm not in that locker room. Certainly NXT started out, as everybody knows, as developmental. But now we've got Finn Balor. I don't think you could argue he's being developed for anything. I don't think Karrion Kross is being developed. I think these are just these are huge stars under the NXT umbrella that, yeah, maybe Raw or SmackDown is in somebody's future, but NXT is such a standalone force right now that I don't even know what I'm trying to say, really. I'm just saying the developmental went out the window and it has developed into one of the greatest products in the wrestling world.
I agree, and I'm sure all of us would agree with that statement as well. We're doing our absolute best to elevate each other and elevate the product, always.
Take us through the thought process on your entrance, because your entrance is an event unto itself. It's something the hell else. It is absolutely every week or every takeover you come out with your entrance. Did you have a lot of input on that coming into the company?
Yes, I did, but I will be honest. There is a lot of unsung praise that the production team in WWE never gets. They love to spotlight us, and of course we love the spotlight. But we all had a lot of assistance. That whole entire production team that nobody ever talks about, we all came together to create that. But Scarlett and I had a major role in putting that together. But the assistance of everyone is what you're seeing in getting that created. And I like to put some attention to them too. So, but yeah, I mean, it was awesome. The whole idea behind that was, her and I always try to approach things like, what can we do that's different? We can do callbacks and we can do nostalgic stuff. Sure. We know, we're aware of what people loved about, 90s and early 2K in the business that might not be everywhere right now. We are aware of that. The fans and us are still alive. You know what I mean? So where we can, we'll bring that back. But what could we bring that was new and felt different and unique? How can we contribute to everything that everyone's contributing to in NXT, but do it differently? And that was kind of our brainchild in that process. We love retro horror movies, if you haven't figured that out.
Right.
You already know about my affinity towards Demolition Man, which, I'm not going to let this go, by the way.
It's fine.
I'm going to win you over.
No, we're going to get through it.
But I don't know if you'd ever seen this one, but Repo, the Genetic Opera, her and I are huge. We love theater.
Okay.
We thought that there were some concepts and ideas between horror and theater that we could integrate into this presentation. So that's kind of what people have been seeing.
Does that get you in the right mindset to go into the ring? Because I know a lot of people's entrances are they're able to plug into that character in that moment or plug into whatever they need to plug into to get in the ring and do what they need to do.
Absolutely. It's a complete disassociation to who I am outside the ring to completely get into that place that I need to be and bring that to life for people.
I had a question, and this is just between me and you. Did you consider maybe wearing a bigger shirt today?
What are you talking about? This is XXL.
Okay. Okay. On a doll, maybe. What you're just busting out of your shirt. I'm sitting here, a 41-year-old man with man titties, and I got my Nitro shirt on, and you're just busting out of your shirt over here.
Well, more potatoes and more chicken, man. I mean, you had that little cup right when we got on. I was like, you could be eating a XXL. Look how little that is.
I mean,
how much protein and carbs in that?
I'm eating my Popeye's lunch, man. Okay, relax. It's fine. Real talk. Who had the better entrance, you or Disco Inferno?
That's very disrespectful.
To Disco Inferno or to you?
To the both of us.
Okay.
Why would want to put me and Disco in a cage match? That's essentially what you're trying to line
No.
up. I'm Disco in NXT.
Here's the thing. So you've never listened to the show. I don't know why you would, but every week I play 3 theme songs to get me in the right mindset to do this show, and it's always 3 random theme songs, right? Sometimes I'll play the DX theme or I'll play the NWO theme just to get me where I need to be to talk old school wrestling, because that's what I want to do. I played Disco Inferno's theme song about 6 weeks ago, and I have played it every show since, because for some reason that disco fever, yeah, gets me in the mood every single time. Now your music's great. I'm just saying, gets me in the mood where I need to be. Maybe that says a lot.
You're basically saying that when you listen to Disco Inferno's theme music, your chart buster power goes up at least 2 to 5%.
It does. It's very embarrassing. And when I said it out loud, I immediately wish I hadn't said it.
Well, now it's out there. We can't take it back.
Well, I haven't, but no, I can edit this. I can make it seem like you said it.
No. Don't do that.
All right. So, real talk. Let's get serious for a second. For the last year, obviously, WWE, NXT, everywhere in the wrestling world, everywhere in the real world has been dealing with COVID, with doing these live shows either in the Thunderdome or the Performance Center. COVID vaccinations are something that's out there right now. COVID vaccination. I know the WWE has launched some PSAs about COVID vaccinations, and it's a very important initiative from WWE right now. Just speak to that and why they're important.
It's important to have options to improve your health. You know what I mean? And all of us would like to get back to normal. So this is definitely a move in the right direction.
I got a question. I did some research on you because I can read. I'm from Mississippi, but I can. Have you read Art of War 40 times?
I have. I have a hard copy in my house. I probably read it more than 40 times, but yes.
Why don't you read it so much? You just read it over and over and over. How long is it?
It's a little long, but I'll tell you this. I read the same books over and over and over again because it's the best way for me to retain the information. And I think it's a good read, just like reps on anything.
Okay, fair enough. See, I've never read The Art of War. I wouldn't know where to start. I wouldn't even know where to buy it. But if it results in me main eventing an NXT pay-per-view one time, maybe I should do it. Maybe. Okay, so I also read where the first match you remember watching is Hogan Warrior WrestleMania 6. Is this correct?
Yes.
So WrestleMania 6 would be 1990. So that makes you, late 80s, early 90s. This whole podcast, wrestling, is a throwback to when I grew up, and I became a fan in 1987, WrestleMania 3. So you incorporate a lot of that old wrestling knowledge into your presentation, into what you want to do with your career. Was it that match that hooked you, or did it just get you started and something else hooked you?
There was, for a long time, as a wrestling fan, before even being in the business, I was trying to pinpoint what it was specifically that I loved so much about this, because there's a lot of things to love about it. That specific match, that memory of being a child, and it's like one of the first memories I could even recall.
Right.
That's been with me. Like, I've been pre-programmed. Like, it's been with me. I think the spectacle of these two giants being in the center of a building, surrounded by people, and just Warrior being there and just winning, and the energy and everything, that spectacle. I was like, it was just mind blowing. It just stayed with me. It never left me. That moment in time never left me.
I hear what you're saying, and it makes so much sense to me, because as somebody who's in the arena now, and you're going after that, and you're going to create that in your career of these huge moments and these huge legends. But just seeing Hogan and Warrior, it was two titans at the top of their popularity, at the top of their game, in a gigantic stadium, and every single move, every single whip, every single everything got a huge reaction. And the finish was so hot because you had Hogan missing the leg drop, and you had Warrior, and the crowd didn't even know what to do. They just blew the roof off the stadium like 4 or 5 times. And it's one of the moments where I can look back, and I also, WrestleMania 7, when Savage gets back with Elizabeth, those are some of the moments where I look back and say, if you ask me why I'm a fan of this stuff, just watch the way it moves these people. And I loved your explanation there, because you have taken this and made this your life, and coming from that moment, it makes a whole lot of sense. That's an awesome thank you for giving me that explanation.
Absolutely. And you summed it up too. It's like these moments, right? It's the accumulation of all these things, and then this payoff. That stuff stays with you.
So your last NXT title match, we'll talk about it briefly just to set up this one. It was against Keith Lee, which is a markedly different opponent than you'll be facing in NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. You won the title from Keith Lee. It got taken away, but now you've fought back, and you will be facing Finn Balor. What do you see out of Finn Balor, the opponent? What kind of match is this going to be?
I think he's one of the best NXT champions that we've ever had, if not the best to this point. He, in my opinion, is the total package in terms of what he's able to do in the ring. If I had to imagine how this is going to go, if I had to visualize it, he's going to try to be faster than me. He's going to try to get behind me. He's going to go for submissions. He's going to go for small joint manipulations because I'm a bigger guy. How I'm going to prepare for this is rather than dropping weight and trying to get faster and keep up with them, I'm going to get bigger and stronger, and I'm going to cut the ring off. And when I get a hold of him, I'm going to put my elbow through the back of his head.
You wrestle a very physical style, as you just very, very subtly articulated. Finn Balor's had some very physical matchups. Pete Dunne is somebody who's a very physical wrestler, as was Kyle O'Reilly. He's got 3 title defenses in those physical veins like that. This one, you'll be his most physical opponent to date. Do you think you can out-physical Finn Balor to this title?
100%, and we got a little taste of that last week.
All right, so let's just look forward. Let's say NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, which is April 7th on USA Network, April 8th on Peacock, and WWE Network Worldwide. Let's say Karrion Kross wins his second NXT title. What's the expectation if you're able to hold that title up? What would happen this time around once you get that belt?
This time around, everyone's going to get to see exactly what I had every single intention of manifesting into the NXT universe. This is an opportunity for me to be able to showcase the vision that I had for everyone before I had separated my shoulder with Master Keith. It's going to mean everything. Everything that I've gone through, all of the years, all of the days, all of the time that I've put in, all of the other massive special events that I've missed in my life, to dedicate everything that I have into becoming who I am today. It'll all mean something if I can pull this off. And I'm very certain that I can.
Are those kettlebells in the back?
Yes.
I mean, come on, man. I understand that I have to work out. I understand that I'm a little jiggly, but I work here all the time.
You know, I actually think you're a big guy. I would blame the WCW shirt. I would blame the shirt. You can blame them. You can blame them.
I understand. Listen, I've been around a long time. I know a lot of shit gets blamed on WCW. But, hey, I like the shirt. You don't like the shirt? You're my age. You're not my age.
I think it's a pretty cool shirt, but I'm just saying you could blame the shirt if you want.
Because WCW, that is always the answer. That works. Yeah. All right, that is possible future NXT champion Karrion Kross. I'll ask you one more question because I didn't ask this. I skipped this question. WrestleMania is coming up. WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all, right? Now, this will be WrestleMania week. This will be a part of the WrestleMania festivities. This is like the WrestleMania for NXT. Do you look at it like that? Do you look at it as leading? Because I feel like, I'm just projecting here, I feel like Karrion Kross has a couple of WrestleMania moments in his future. Is this the start of that?
I would think so. I think that's a fair statement. Absolutely.
Oh, you really like that. I'd say that. I got a smile on his face now. I gassed him up a little bit. Everything's all good all of a sudden. All right, he's got terrible taste in Stallone movies. I'm just kidding. I watch Demolition Man all the time.
Yeah, see? An honest man.
Listen, if a movie came out before 1995 and stars Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone, sign me the hell up. That is Karrion Kross, possible future NXT champion. NXT TakeOver April 7th on USA, but he will main event on April 8th on Peacock and WWE Network Worldwide against Finn Balor. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know this. It will be one hell of a match and one hell of a spectacle. Thank you very much for joining me. All right. That was Karrion Kross. Seems like a decent guy.
Seems great, yeah.
Terrible taste in Sylvester Stallone movies.
Did
you like Demolition Man? Do you remember Demolition Man?
I did.
Are you old enough
for
Demolition Man?
No, yeah, I'm old enough. Did you know that in the international versions they don't use Taco Bell because Taco Bell isn't a thing outside of the United States?
A, what? And B, what?
Yeah.
Taco Bell's not a thing outside the United States?
Apparently not big enough at the time.
Have you ever been outside the United States?
I have been. I think I've been to a Taco Bell outside of...
Well, then this whole thing's a lie.
Okay, well, I have to send you the link because in the international version, it's a Pizza Hut. Everything becomes a Pizza Hut.
Can I tell you...
Isn't that wild?
Can I tell you the truth? It kind of makes me sad that Pizza Hut's gone downhill recently.
I love Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut's my favorite chain pizza restaurant.
So good, so fast.
They used to have the fucking... they would give away the March Madness basketballs every March. Pizza Hut's had some cool shit, man. And every Pizza Hut in the country had that Galaga machine sitting there that you could sit down and play Galaga or Pac-Man.
Mm-hmm. I remember having birthday parties there, and they let us go in the back and actually load our pizzas in.
I didn't get to do that, but I did have the birthday parties there.
Oh, so good.
It had the building that had the hat on it, the red hat.
Remember the red drinking glasses?
Yeah, of course I remember the red drinking glasses.
Those were good.
Oh, Pizza Hut was good.
Bottomless sodas.
Pizza Hut was
and
good.
the pizza was good, too. Very unique taste.
I like the pizza.
Oh, I thought it was wonderful.
Cheese breadsticks?
Oh, don't even start. I would load up on that Parmesan cheese.
I just love I love Pizza Hut. What were we talking about?
I have no idea. Pizza
Okay,
Hut.
cool.
Demolition Man. Yep.
No.
We
just made the list. We always do our top 5 somethings every week. Today, since Mania's next week I think we'll do our best Manias. This week we're going to do top 5 WrestleMania venues first. All right, we're about to break down our list of the top 5 WrestleMania venues, stadiums, and whatnot. Before we do that, guys, we're going to get serious for a second. The last year has been hard on a lot of people. That's why we're doing something new and partnering with our new sponsor, BetterHelp Online Therapy at Barstool Sports. We truly love and appreciate our listeners. I know I do. You guys are ride or die for me, and I appreciate that. Without you guys, none of us will be able to do what we do every day. I think about that all the time. There's a market out there for my services. It is you guys, and without you, I am nothing. So once in a while, we try to bring you something great. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. A lot of us take care of our bodies, but with as tough a year as this has been on so many of us, we got to think about taking care of our minds. We go to the gym, we eat right, but are we taking care of our minds? That's what we need to do. There's a misunderstanding of what therapy is. It can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be sitting around talking about your feelings. It can just be, it's whatever you need to be, and it is fantastic stuff. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing that therapy is what therapy is really all about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Walker. That's my last name. That's BetterHelp.com, betterhelp.com/Walker.
You just made the list.
Okay. All right. I will start. Would you like me to start?
Absolutely.
I'm going to start at number 5.
Okay.
Number 5 was a terrible WrestleMania, but the venue was cool. They probably went a little too far with the Cleopatra and the togas and all that. But it is, you see a still shot of this, you know exactly where it is, you know exactly what it was. It's a fucking parking lot in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Caesars, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because they did all the... So it is WrestleMania 9, the venue in Las Vegas. I think as bad as the Mania was, as bad as the toga stuff was, it's still a cool visual. I loved the venue at Vegas.
We got to see Bobby Heenan on a camel coming out backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I popped so hard for that. It was so funny.
I love Bobby Heenan.
Oh, jeez.
He's my most favorite.
We had the double doinks in that one as well against Crush.
Long before Chicago Bears had a double doink, we had the double doinks against Crush.
Yep.
Which, very good. What's your number 5 venue for WrestleMania?
My number 5 is the Sky Dome.
Toronto
Still
Sky
to
Dome.
this day, the first and only WrestleMania to be held outside of these United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
And
2 of them now.
Well, yes, 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd be hard pressed to find, a main event that did not feature 2 of the biggest matches, the high-powered, high-wattage superstars, Hogan, Warrior, and then at X8, Hogan Rock. And if you had that match, the Hogan Rock match at the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim,
right.
I don't know if we get that same sort of reaction. So maybe this is me thanking the venue, but also thanking the fine people of Toronto, because that was one of the greatest WrestleMania moments, and they helped make that happen. So I can't speak for loving all of Canada, but I certainly do love Toronto, and that will always stay near and dear.
Spoiler alert, I love Canada, and Sky Dome will make another appearance on my list. So number 4, WrestleMania 31. San Francisco, Santa Clara, I believe. Outdoors. I'm a sucker for outdoor. I'm a sucker for that starting in the daylight, ending in the dark of night. I just love that. I love that atmosphere. It gives an atmosphere that you can't replicate anywhere inside a building. I love the venue. WrestleMania 31. It's in the San Francisco 49er Stadium, and I believe it's in Santa Clara, right?
Yep.
So not really San Francisco, but Santa Clara. That's my number 4, WrestleMania 31.
My number 4 is the historic Atlantic City Convention Center, at the time known as Trump Plaza. back-to-back years, 3 and 4. This was a cool little venue. It felt like a circus tent in there.
It did. I kind of punished it because the Manias were kind of long and boring.
Right.
But it looked like people just went on forever inside that thing. It's a very
It felt a lot
look.
bigger than it actually was. And for some reason, I just giggle the fact that they made those wrestlers go down those stairs. I mean, my God, if Titus O'Neil had to go down that staircase, I mean, he'd be a paraplegic right now.
That
I mean,
gold
couldn't
ass
do it.
walkway.
Oh yeah, no
I remember. You know, you see Liz coming out. You see Savage. I can see him emerging from that little curtain and just walking. It was a very narrow walkway too. That's a very unique situation, unique spot.
And at 4, you know, that bracket was just insane. It felt like it was like a March Madness 64 Superstars.
A lot of people think Mania 4 was terrible. It has a nice nostalgic place for me because the tournament is standalone. It's just perfect snapshot of that time in wrestling. Number 3, WrestleMania venues. It gets no bigger than the biggest WrestleMania to that point. Indoor attendance record. Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant. Again, this was another one that started in the daytime. It was in a dome, but you could see the first match was in the bright of day. And by the time Hogan and Andre came out, it was dark and it was like lit perfectly, where only the ring was lit at that point, and it was just like this sea of darkness. And I don't know, that Pontiac Silverdome 1987 WrestleMania 3 is as big time as it got. I love that venue.
I mean, they only hosted one WrestleMania, I guess 1.5 if you count the time Hulk Hogan thought he was at Pontiac Silverdome at WrestleMania 30.
Correct.
Still hilarious, never gets old. But you're right, that indoor record lasted for, I think, nearly 30 years. It's unbelievable. And did they have the little carts?
They did.
Those were cute.
They did. They had them for that one and 6, right?
Yep.
They had them for that one and then the Sky Dome at WrestleMania 6. But yeah, I love the carts. I can remember. Well, I won't get into memories now. But what's your number 3?
Yeah, I guess I had the Pontiac Silverdome as well. So
for number 3.
For number 3, what else is there to say about that? Hogan versus Andre. I mean, one of the great moments when he slammed him and threw him down. I mean, that was just incredible. And I never knew that there was a Pontiac, Michigan, and they named a car after that city. I needed to see that.
I thought they named the city after the car.
Oh no! Oh,
I don't know. I always
thought that they just
they probably did name the car after the city. That
I think they just picked a lot of.
I always
of all the vehicles too.
I always thought
we really love that Pontiac.
Hey, the Grand Prix and the Grand Am were everywhere in 1991, brother. Yeah, I guess I always thought.
Township of Ford Focus.
My number two is the Sky Dome, Toronto. It is the only one on this list that has 2 iconic happenings. Hogan Warrior was made by the crowd just as much as Hogan Rock was. I mean, they were split. There's the famous image of Warrior standing on the top rope looking out in the crowd, and somebody has the picture of Hogan, the long picture. I mean, that's just a beautiful. I mean, Edge was in the crowd. It's just Sky Dome to me was the perfect place for Mania. And back in the late 80s, early 90s, this happened April 1990. Sky Dome was like the coolest thing ever because it had the retractable. It was the first one with the retractable roof, and it was awesome that they played it. So yeah, I'm looking forward. Are we going to catch? Please tell me you got.
What?
Please, just come on.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna help me out.
That's my number 1.
Okay, good.
Okay,
good. Number 2. You go with your number 2.
I'm going with the Rosemont Horizon, now known as the Allstate Arena.
Yeah, home of WrestleMania 13.
13, 22, and parts of 2. 2 and 13, but they really made up for it. WrestleMania 22, we got Edge versus Foley in that legendary hardcore match.
Yeah.
Mysterio versus Orton versus Angle, triple threat. And going a little bit side track here, I don't think there's been any other venue that has held more pay-per-views than that Rosemont Horizon. Really? I don't know what that mayor's doing to get those events, but they seem to every year they get a Survivor Series or a Rumble. It's unbelievable. It's a very old arena. But lot of history there, and that's my number 2.
Yeah, they got. You're right. 2 and a third Manias were held at the Rosemont Horizon, but I think you poo-pooed 13 a little bit because it did have Brett Austin.
I see it there.
It did have Brett Austin, which is the crowd made that. Yeah. My number 1, and I'm leaving the other number 1 to you, because when I think of your number 1, I'll explain it later. When you say it. But my number 1 is just, to me, the most beautiful WrestleMania there ever was, and I can't explain it. It's just I just remember Shawn coming down and doing this pose, and then it was in a baseball field, Seattle, WrestleMania 19, it then called Safeco Field. I have no idea what it's called now. It was called Safeco Field. I thought it was the best looking WrestleMania ever. It was in that Pacific Northwest. You had some sun for a while, then you had the sunlight, the moon, and everything. But it just something about the way it was built, the ramp, it was just perfect. It said everything about WrestleMania. I don't know. Maybe I think I might be the only one that nostalgizes for that particular Mania, in that particular setting. I thought Safeco Field was the prettiest Mania ever.
It was a very unique setting. Was that partially roofed, I want to say?
No, Safeco wasn't roofed at all.
Okay.
It was just a pure open baseball stadium.
Yeah. I mean, what an interesting city to choose, for a Mania. Seattle. But, that was a really good
That's
spot.
my favorite. And I'll let you go with number one that would probably be most people's number one.
No, again, New York guy, New Jersey guy here, my home arena, Madison Square Garden. The arena is amazing. They've had 3 WrestleManias there, 1, 10, and 20. And all 3 of them were just spectacular. One, you have Junkyard Dog versus Greg Valentine. That shouldn't have been the lead there. Hogan, Mr. T versus Mr. Wonderful and Piper. And then you go to 10, and you have yourself a ladder match.
10 was incredible.
That was just so
good.
Bret Owen, and then Bret, going over Yokozuna by the end, by night's end. And then 20, that was Cena's first WrestleMania, so that's kind of a big deal. Very interesting about the shape of Madison Square Garden. They always kind of had that short little ramp.
On the side,
which it was tough because you were just, I'm sure it was great for the crowd. You're just so close to it, but you kind of do want a little bit more of a ramp. Basically you take 3 steps forward and you're in the ring. But a lot of history there, and
But they used it very well. Like at Mania 20, when Undertaker made his return to the Deadman character, remember they framed him walking into the shot right there, and then he had that slow walk forward. That was a beautiful way they used it. 20 was an excellent WrestleMania. It also had Rock and Foley against Evolution. And then, of course, the main event, which I don't talk about anymore, but it was very good. You had Eddie Guerrero against Kurt Angle. Very good Mania. The reason I didn't put MSG on my list, I just feel like it covers all of wrestling, not just Mania. Like, it also has some of the best Rumbles, some of the best SummerSlams, some of the best Survivor Series. 96 Survivor Series was there. Like, it is the home of wrestling. I don't consider it the home of WrestleMania, so that's why I didn't put it on my list. I will get heat.
It's the trump card.
I will get heat for that, but for not having it on my list, I just see it as MSG is to me WWE's home and always will be. And Mania, I just wanted something a little bit more outside the box.
Yep.
You just made the list.
Okay, so that was best venues. I made an executive decision. We told you we might do the worst Manias. We started doing it. I didn't really like it. I didn't enjoy the segment. I felt like it wasn't.
We were getting angry. Like we were starting to feel a little dirty.
You hit me in the jaw.
I get excited about when people talk badly about WrestleMania 9.
You assaulted me. I've never assaulted a coworker since that one time.
Jesus, it's only my second week here.
All right, so we actually scratched the segment. For the first time in wrestling history, we recorded it and we scratched it. So it is hopefully Aria made sure he cut it. Jake is making the notes to cut it right now. Aria's back home doing the editing. So there you go. Now we got voicemails. Huh?
Yeah.
Voicemails. Let's do some voicemails. Let's get the voicemails up in here. Let's see what people want to say about wrestling. All right, we are about to get to the voicemails. Before we do that, I got to tell you about One Championship. The home of martial arts comes to prime time in the U.S. It's One Championship's biggest month in history with 4 weeks of blockbuster events in April, immediately following AEW Dynamite every Wednesday night. Don't miss One on TNT at 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time. Witness nonstop martial arts action in MMA, Muay Thai, and kickboxing in a cage. It's martial arts spectacle like you've never seen before. It kicks off this Wednesday, April 7th, with One on TNT 1. That's One on TNT Part 1. After winning the grueling One Flyweight World Grand Prix, 12-time UFC World Champion Demetrius Johnson seeks to cement his legacy as the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. In order to achieve GOAT status, DJ will have to dethrone 6-time One Flyweight World Champion Adriano Morales, who promises to be the first man to finish Mighty Mouse. Plus, 4-time UFC and Bellator World Champion Philadelphia's very own Eddie the Underground King Alvarez,
who is out to prove he belongs among the elite in the promotion after a challenging start. Standing in his way is dangerous. Number 2 lightweight contender, Lori Lapikis. Lori, go Lori. Lori Lapikis. That's my guy. 1 on TNT airs Wednesday night, April 7th on TNT after AEW at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. Catch the lead card starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bleacher Report. The best fights are on Wednesday nights.
All right, here's the voicemails. Voicemail number 1.
Oh, Brandon fucking Walker.
Yep.
Don't you dare be sour.
Good start.
Clap for the world famous wrestling #1 podcast and feel
the
power.
Yes, it's a new day. Yes, it is.
Thank you, Brandon Walker, for making this awesome podcast. I have 2 questions for you real quick. They kind of go hand in hand. One, you gotta play some theme songs. How do you not play the Imperium theme song? Walter walking down, chest slap. Oh, and then he's facing Ciampa. Play No One Will Survive at the beginning of your podcast. I bet you're excited.
Okay, relax. Let me produce this show.
2003, 2004 SmackDown. Their theme song is also really awesome. My second question is, how hyped are you for actually both of Walter's up-and-coming matches at NXT TakeOver, taking on Ciampa? I think that's going to be a barn burner. And then Rampage Brown. I don't know if you've seen any of Defiant Wrestling on YouTube, but check out Rampage. Him and Walter, 2 powerhouses. I wouldn't be shocked if the ring explodes.
Well, let's not joke about the ring exploding.
Again, thank you so much. Awesome podcast. Been listening since day one. Been a lifer for wrestling, too. Thank you, man, once again.
All right, so his...
I didn't know this was the #1 wrestling podcast. This is exciting. I was not aware.
It's very much not.
Oh, okay.
It will be eventually.
Okay, we'll get there.
It's growing.
You'll get there.
It's growing. We got old Conrad in our sights.
Yeah.
Which is pretty easy because he's very big. Both in stature and in
yes
his body. No, I've said this before. I've talked to Conrad about this. I told him the reason I got into this was because of you, because I'm very inspired by the way you've built an empire out of nothing. So
was that your first time getting a chance to chat with him when you went down?
Yeah. First time I ever talked to. Well, I DM'd him once, and he DM'd me once. But yeah, I talked to him at AEW. So anyway, he asked. First of all, I think this voicemail was just Walter's publicist.
Yeah,
I think this was just one of the Walters. Imperium's theme's good, but it's an actual song, right?
Yeah, it's
right.
A real song.
So I don't really get it. Like I've never played Daniel Bryan's song. I never played that, or like I don't know.
It gives me World War II vibes, which kind of bothers me a little bit. I mean, I am a German American, so I maybe should be proud of that song, but it gives me the willies a little bit. And maybe that's why it's a good song to play, but certainly it wouldn't put me in the right mind space for a podcast.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten into Walter that much either. Like Walter's, I don't think he's an acquired taste. He is somebody, I mean, his matches look like they just hurt. And he is something else. Now, his match with Dragunov, I believe, maybe I'm saying his name wrong. It was incredible. It was awesome. But I know that his match with Ciampa will be awesome because Ciampa's involved. It'll be hard hitting. It will be incredible, and it will threaten to steal the show at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, which will have 4 or 5 show stealing matches. So I can't wait to get Walter more involved over here on this side of the pond, and we see more from him. I have never seen Rampage Brown in my life, so I can't speak to that.
I wrote it down to look it up. I will say the Ciampa theme song is a good theme song.
Is it?
Oh,
yeah. Ciampa is.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go with voicemail number 2.
Hey, Brandon, Arya, it's Pat from Winnipeg. We are on the home stretch for almost at WrestleMania, full WrestleMania season, so I got a WrestleMania question for you. What would be your favorite celebrity appearance moment at a WrestleMania? I think some of them are really great. There's some that have been really terrible. They got Bad Bunny. I don't know what a Bad Bunny is, but he's coming in and he's going to have a match, so I'm actually kind of excited for it. I think The Miz is going to carry that and really make it gold. But in your opinion, WrestleMania history, what was the best celebrity moment, celebrity appearance in your opinion? Thank you. Love the pod.
Does anything pop to your head?
Well, it's a no-brainer. I mean,
what is it?
I mean, PR.
What?
His initials are PR. First name Pete.
Pete Rose. WrestleMania 14 when Kane.
I mean, what? He was there for 3 of them, right?
Yeah, and he came
he
back as a San Diego Chicken the second time and tried to sneak up on him. Yeah. Pete Rose is a very good one.
Yep.
He was very into the joke, into it. Bob Uecker is probably my favorite because Bob Uecker, they put him on the mic and he was
funny.
He was so funny and so good. He was at WrestleMania 3 and WrestleMania 4. I would go Bob Uecker very, very high. Steve Allen at WrestleMania 6 doing the funny stuff,
singing
with the
in the showers, right?
That was funny.
Bob Uecker is a good one. I mean, when Andre choked him, that's a classic,
iconic image.
Absolutely. Regis Philbin.
Is it weird? Is it weird that I want to say The Rock at WrestleMania 30? Just The Rock showing up these days is a celebrity appearance.
Yeah.
All right, voicemail number 3.
Hey, Brandon. This is Jason from New Jersey. I was wondering your take on the role of general managers in the different shows. I was watching NXT last week and just thought William Regal does an excellent job as general manager there. And just wondering your thoughts on why more shows don't embrace the general manager role.
Well, I feel like WWE with the McMahons kind of really overdid the authority figure for so many years, and I like I go back all the way to Jack Tunney when he would just come and they would just do these appearances, and he was never a character per se. He would never do anything as far as character development. He would just lay out the law. This is going to be this match. It's going to be this match. I like that type of GM, the kind of guy like Adam Pearce is doing it right now. Adam Pearce is pretty good at it, where he just shows up, gives you a fair accounting of everything, listens to the sides, and then makes a match. I like that. I don't like the evil general manager ever. I don't like the face general manager, which was Foley back in 2000. He was very good at it, but I just like a straightforward, okay, here's what it is. And Regal is very, very good at it. I'm trying to think of others who have been great over the years.
There's not a lot of them. I mean, Regal really is, head and shoulders, I think, above the rest. But I mean, Shane, Mick, I mean, it's not my cup of tea.
I like Mick was good because he would do the backstage segments with the wrestlers, and it was always funny and good. But when it comes to getting in the ring and making matches, again, the McMahons kind of ruined the concept because it was always screw the babyface because it worked with Austin for so long. It was then they moved on to doing it with Rock, and then they do Daniel Bryan. It's always the same story. So I don't mind general managers. I like them when they're unaffiliated and kind of third parties.
I think you have to have one. I mean, because then what are we doing here? Just a bunch of wrestlers.
Yeah, I do think you need to have one. I even go to Lucha Underground, Dario Cueto. He's very, very effective and good as the kind of course, he's evil too. But I just love. I want the wrestlers to be in the center. I don't want the authority figure to be in the center. And I'm not hating on McMahon's because they've often done it very, very well, and Triple H has as well. I prefer the Regal type, and Regal's probably the best at it. Let's go with voicemail number 4.
What's up, Brandon? Sam from Chicago here. Just wanted to call. I feel like most of the time we always talk about, the A-level wrestlers, and want to know your Mount Rushmore, who is Shawn, is Undertaker, or whatnot. But I want to know more or less who your B-level, how you rank certain superstars. So today I have a ranking. Tag team list.
I love this.
2 of each promotion, but how would you rank the following? Faces of Fear, Doom, Ron Simmons and Butch Reed.
I know.
Twin Towers, and Natural Disasters.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
Twin Towers. Let me write them all down. Natural this
Disasters.
Is an incredible question. All right.
I got Twin Towers and Natural Disasters.
It's Faces of Fear, Twin Towers, Natural Disasters, and Doom. You know what Faces of Fear were? That was a WCW name for them.
What's WCW? I don't.
It's World Championship.
Doesn't compute. Oh, that's right.
Faces of Fear was Barbarian and Ming. Barbarian Haku in WWE, and then in WWE.
Love the Barbarian.
In WCW, there were the Faces of Fear. So I think out of this group, I'm going to rank them 1, 2, 3, 4. And I am going Twin Towers 1. Twin Towers really helped tell the story of, this was Bossman and Hakeem back in 88-89, helped tell the story of the Hogan-Savage breakup. They were just huge monsters. Bossman could go. Bossman's a very underrated wrestler. I go Twin Towers 1. I go Natural Disasters 2. Again, Earthquake on his own was a main eventer. He main evented SummerSlam in 1990. I love Natural Disasters. I go Twin Towers 1, Natural Disasters 2, Doom a very close 3, and a distant 4th is Faces of Fear, who never really got a proper run as the champs in WCW. Barbarian and Haku. I remember Barbarian more from the Powers of Pain with the Warlord in WWF, and of course Haku was in the Colossal Connection and the Islanders, so this was like his 3rd or 4th best tag team. Again, Twin Towers 1, Natural Disasters 2, Doom 3, Faces of Fear 4. What do you got?
Faces of Fear 4, Doom 3. I'm going to just jump right. I just loved hearing Twin Towers and Natural Disasters. I mean, those guys, I can just hear Earthquake's music, just R.I.P.
That rumble.
Oh, so good. I'll go Twin Towers 2. They were really, really good, and it's tough to, say anything bad about them. I thought Bossman did an excellent job. Not a natural tag team wrestler per se, but certainly made it work, made the gimmick work. Natural Disasters. I mean, as you said, Earthquake, a main eventer, and brings Typhoon in, formerly Tugboat, which that was one hell of a gimmick.
Yeah, Tugboat wasn't working, and they switched him to heel. The heel turn was very good. I think he turned heel on the Bushwhackers on just prime time. Mm-hmm. I love the Natural Disasters. I would have no argument with them 1 or 2.
It's a great question, though. I mean, we're really going bottom of the can here.
It's very off the wall.
Yeah.
How many more we got? One more? Last voicemail. Let's go.
What's up, Brandon Walker, you beautiful son of a bitch? This is Sully from Delco. If you don't know what Delco is, go talk to Rome. Go talk to Kate and her new baby. They'll explain it to you real quick. Let me break something down for you. Love you. Love your show. That Kalisto guy, hope he doesn't call back because I want to kick his ass. He's not elite. Kalisto's not elite. That's why he's not on TV anymore, all right, pal? My question for you, Brandon Walker, a lot of good manager wrestler combos out there. I want to know what your dream combo is, or one you would like to see that has never been seen. I personally would like to take 2012 Paul Heyman, his CM Punk days and his Brock Lesnar days. I'd like to pair him up with somebody like Psycho Sid. I think that could be really good.
Ooh.
Psycho Sid was a maniac, but it just looked like one instead of opening his mouth ever. Had Paul Heyman talk for him. Probably would have skyrocketed his life. Tell me what you think. Get back to me. And also, suck it.
Okay. All right. So my thought goes to the greatest manager of all time with one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I go to 1987, the year he helped turn Andre and make him the biggest bad guy in the world. I take Bobby the Brain Heenan. You know who he manages? Same year, different company. He manages Ric Flair. Ric Flair. Now, when they got to WWF in 1991, he was loosely affiliated with him. He had Mr. Perfect at ringside, and then Bobby Heenan calling the shots. But Bobby Heenan at his peak, Ric Flair at his peak, that's the greatest wrestler-manager combo of all time.
Man, you're going in the time machine. I'm going to keep it right here in the present. Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. I mean, let's just start with Paul Heyman. I think he could be managing a duck, a turtle, any other zoo animal you could think of, and get him over and probably get him to a title. But I mean, Roman, I was like, he's okay. He's there. But I mean, we were all booing him. I mean, and they were forcing him down our throat, but Paul Heyman comes aboard and just changes it on a dime, and now I think it's one of the best stories going right now, and I think it's all a testament to Paul Heyman. He's doing an amazing job.
I love that answer. It's right in front of our face.
Yep.
All right, so those are the voicemails. Thank you very much for calling, for listening, and we're going to transition into our Raw Talk right now. All right, I'm back on Tuesday morning for the quick Raw recap. Not a lot. It wasn't a great episode of Raw. Seems like most of the stories have been told. We're screaming towards WrestleMania. There was just one. First of all, before I get into that, this was kind of an experimental episode with trying out the co-host and giving my voice a rest and not putting so much on me and all that. So let me know. I would like for you to you can either DM me on Twitter or you can email barstoolwrestling@gmail.com. Let me know what you thought about today's show with the co-host, whether you liked it, whether you didn't. It's very
tight-knit community we've built so far with wrestling. You know, I get the same voicemailers, the same emailers. I appreciate you guys. I'd like to know what you thought about it, and we'll see about the show going forward, see what we like. But give me an honest appraisal of how you thought it went, and whether it's whether that's the direction we want to start going sometime soon. Okay, so Raw last night, not a whole lot, but there was one thing that just continues to amaze me about the internet. The internet wrestling community is so damn stupid. They just don't understand obvious storytelling when storytelling is obvious. Like last night, the Hurt Business broke up. They had, in the first segment of Raw, they had this big public breakup where Shelton Benjamin threw Bobby Lashley and everything went haywire 2 weeks before the main event of Mania, where Bobby Lashley is defending. And this is a week after Bobby Lashley and MVP put out a bounty for Drew McIntyre. If you can't see where this is going, I don't understand how you've ever watched professional wrestling. It's obviously a fake breakup. They'll get back together, and the Hurt Business will collect the bounty, and that's how things will go. And the internet is losing their mind. Oh, why did they break up the Hurt Business? Why did they do this? Shut up. Are you stupid? Have you ever seen stories told before? The internet loves to diagnose a half story as a failure, and they love to go off the deep end. If you can't handle something like this, why are you watching this shit? I don't understand it. It reminds me of Daniel Bryan, the lead up to WrestleMania 30, where it was obvious he was going to end up in the main event of Mania. There was never a doubt. They didn't go the traditional route of winning the Rumble, but people were freaking out. Oh, there's that. And people still to this day will say they wanted to go with Orton versus Batista, and the fans forced Daniel Bryan in. No, that's just what the story was. It was so obvious back then. It's obvious now, and this is an obvious story too. And the internet just can't handle rudimentary, basic storytelling. Anyway, not a whole lot from Raw. This was a long episode. I appreciate you getting to the end of it, and I thank you. Again, barstoolwrestling@gmail is the email address. You can always hit us up on Twitter @wrestling, on Instagram @wrestling. My Twitter is @bwalkersec if you want to hit me up personally. Thank you. I think Arya will be back in studio next week. Arya, is that right?
Yeah, I'm hoping everything's good. I'm waiting on HR to let me know.
Well, you know what, Arya? I mean, we got a big trip next week.
I know.
Okay. Well, I want to make sure. I don't want to go alone.
There.
All right.
I need to be there.
Okay, so that is wrestling. Thank you for listening. And yeah, there it is. That is wrestling.